the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation, coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy Thursday to you. We're past the halfway point in the week, thankfully. Everyone's still a little on edge, I think, on the in the wonderful world of the internet, as you know, normally people are. Obviously, again, we're going to have to touch on that before we get into, you know, some of the other good stuff. There's just the same old. Every single time we do this, it doesn't matter what the issue is. Insert issue here. People get at each other's throats over disagreements. So first thing I'm going to suggest is, and like, when someone disagrees with you, and I hope everybody's listening, even the people who don't like me, okay? When someone disagrees with you, there doesn't always have to be a motive, okay? There doesn't have to always be a motive. Period. Just because somebody holds a different opinion than you does not mean they're paid to do so. It doesn't mean they're covering up for something. They just might have a different opinion. I don't like sushi, okay? Brennan does like sushi.
I love me some sushi.
Brennan doesn't accuse me of being paid to hate sushi. I just don't like it, okay? Some people are more upset than others with the handling of the Epstein files, okay? Just because they're upset with the handling of the Epstein files more than someone else does not mean there is an incentive other than their own personal interests to feel that way. Some people like other candidates in elections. That does not mean they've been paid to do that either. Some people support Israel. Some people don't. Look, you know, the folks who support Israel because they believe it's their duty to do so, that's their incentive. Some people don't. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're paid by Qatar. Many cases, maybe they are. Some cases, maybe they aren't. Just there are, I do not want to exist within a political movement where you have to adapt one frame of thought or else you're excommunicated. That is what a cult is. And I'm not saying that's what we are. I'm saying that is what two sides of this Epstein battle are trying to turn us into. On one side, if you so much as hint that Donald Trump may have made a mistake, you're out. You're out. You're out. You're not actually MAGA. You're fake. You're weak. You're this, you're that, and the other. On the other side, if you say, all right, Donald Trump made some mistakes, but it's not the end of the world, you're also out. Oh, you're covering for pedophiles. Both sides need to shut the front door here. Because there's, I want to say, 80 to 90% of people aren't actually hung up on this issue. They just want to know what happened. February 26th, February 27th, Bondi made some really big claims. The files were on her desk. They're ready for review. The binders came out, right? We all remember the 3-ring binder, 3-ring circus. And then 4 months later, on a Sunday night, on Independence Day weekend, we get a memo leaked to Axios that says, never mind about all that. I'm not even so mad that we're not getting what we wanted in terms of transparency up front. I'm upset that we were told one thing and given another. And I just want to know what happened in those 4 months. Why did she make those claims? If you effed up, tell me you effed up. And by the way, you know, this whole idea that it's all a hoax, come on. Now, I understand what he means by hoax. What he means by hoax is the Democrats are now accusing Trump of a cover-up. That's the hoax, okay? And the people who are saying he's covering for pedophiles, right? That's the hoax. Nobody's covering for pedophiles in this administration. That's the hoax. I don't think he's saying that Epstein's crimes didn't happen. Then why the hell is he in jail, right? I don't think he's saying that the whole Epstein case and that the accusations of trafficking and victimizing children was a hoax. That's not what I believe he's saying. We have documented proof that occurred, right? I think what he's saying is as Misfit and I talked about last night, that the hoax, and it was worded poorly. Well, I can't say that. It was worded poorly. Is that the hoax is what the Democrats are trying to say the motive is for this. That's the hoax, right? That he's covering something up intentionally out of malice. I don't believe that's what's happening here. The point that I'm trying to make on this, and we'll expound on it in a little bit, is when you support somebody, whether you think they're doing a great job, an okay job, a phenomenal job, a bad job. Let's just take, example, sports, right? I love sports. I like to compare a lot of things to sports. You can have the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. Even he makes mistakes, right? Paul Skeens, I think, is considered the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. Even he gives up home runs. Sometimes it happens. You can have the best hitter in Major League Baseball. Even he strikes out and swings at pitches in the dirt because he got fooled. It happens. He didn't do it because he was paid to throw the game. He didn't do it because he sucked. Right? He just made a mistake. And it starts with his attorney general. The way the president has handled it up until this point has been atrocious. Atrocious. You could fix all of this with one press conference. After that memo came out, all you could have said is, hey, we want to clear some things up. Why are we not doing that? Why? This whole case and the way it has been handled, probably one of the worst things I've ever seen in Trump, one or two, probably one of the worst things I've seen this administration, Trump administration handle in my entire life. He could have handled January, if Donald Trump on January 6th literally was like, go insurrectionists, you beautiful people, take over that would have been better messaging than what we got through this Epstein thing so far. Seriously. And there are people asking, simply not accusing. There's a difference between people who are saying, what are you hiding? I don't think they're hiding anything. But the folks like Gunther Eagleman, Nick Sorter, and some of these folks, Brianna Morello, some of these folks on social media, the folks who are asking simply, what changed? What happened? There's nothing wrong with that. And they should not be ostracized for it. And that's where I draw the line. That's where I draw the line. Don't tell me I can't ask my government questions. Don't tell me I can't see a position on an issue that's important to a lot of people change. Don't tell me I can't say, why did that position change? Why did that position change? It's not unreasonable to ask that question. And it is not unreasonable to demand transparency from the government. It is unreasonable to start linking motive without proof. I.e., I want transparency, and if I don't get it, it means so-and-so is corrupt, or so-and-so is covering for pedophiles, or so-and-so is a pedophile. That's ridiculous. Both extremes in this case need to chill the F out. We pride ourselves on being a big tent, right? And rebutting and debunking the claims that we're a cult. And stop acting like a cult. Both sides. If you don't agree with me 100%, you're a pedophile. If you don't agree with me 100%, you're disloyal to Trump. Both sides, chill out. Because it's tearing people apart. It's wearing people thin. I've talked to so many people over that they're like, this isn't what I signed up for. Not even like policy-wise, just like I wanted to get involved in politics. This is not what I signed up for. I mean, it's an ugly game. No one likes the way the sausage is made, right? Doesn't have to be this way, though. If you take the extremes in both, just go like this. That's where you want to be, okay? You got the wild people over here who everyone who disagrees with me is a pedophile, and the wild people over here who are like, oh, you're disloyal to Trump. He took a bullet for you, bro. Okay, I get it. Clear those people out and focus on the large portion who just want to know what the hell is going on. That's all I'll say on the matter this morning. I'm going to try and put another video out later, but I have to articulate it better. So I'm probably going to write it out and read it, the whole thing, because I'll say things that I don't want to say in this video, and that'll get me in even more trouble. So here we go. All right, let's get to before we keep going here. Oh boy, what was that? Why'd I do that? Don't do that. Before we get going here, let's get to a word from our friends over at My Patriot Supply. It's mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com. Promo code Ungoverned. mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. My Patriot Supply. Promo code Ungoverned. Same thing, both spots. This is mypatriotsupply.com and the 3-month emergency food kit. Look, you know, the headlines are getting crazier and crazier and darker by the day, right? Escalating global conflicts, shaky supply chains, unstable power grid, weather, right? All the crazy weather. Still hearing about every now and then. Airlines having issues. It feels like we're one more crisis away from total chaos. That's why I want you to check it out at mypatriotsupply.com. The emergency food kit, 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. It is a company that many people trust with their lives, really, when you think about prepping for disaster, right? The 3-month emergency food kit is their bestseller for a reason. Over 2,000 calories a day for 3 full months with meals that will last you up to 25 years. Right now, My Patriot Supply is offering an exclusive deal on this kit just for us right here. If you're in the chat, this is just for you. But this deal is not going to last long. So don't wait until the next crisis hits and the shelves are bare. Go to mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. That is mypatriotsupply.com/ungoverned. Get your 3-month emergency food kit today. It comes with lightning fast free shipping and could be at your door in just 2 to 3 days. That is 3 months, 2,000 calories per day with a shelf life of up to 25 years. You don't have to be a prepper to see that things are getting crazier by the day. Supply chains, global conflicts, possible sleeper cells, wild weather. MyPatriotSupply.com can help you hedge against disaster. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. MyPatriotSupply.com/ungoverned. All right. As Jeremy and many people in the chat have asked, please share the show out. We need your help to make sure that we reach the largest number of people possible. And I think there was a question that was posted in the chat. Is LFA TV your favorite TV network? It has to be, right? That's why you're all here. That's why you're all here. All right. Before we get to the big story, which is Maurene Comey being fired, let's get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms.
Hey, y'all. Celebrate Christmas in July with a sale from OFP Farms. Goat milk soap so creamy you'd think the goats were bottling pure American spirit. Even Uncle Sam can't help but tip his hat at the scent of freedom. Don't wait. Deck your star-spangled halls now with 35% off. Stock up on our rich patriotic goat milk soaps, lotions, and lip balms. Or treat someone special with one of our famous gift sets. Because this sale ensures that you'll be sparkling brighter than the fireworks on the 4th. So, saddle up and treat yourself to a sudsy salute to the red, white, and bleak. Visit OFP Farms, where every wash is a celebration of American grit and goat glamour. Yeehaw.
That's OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean, SHAWN, for 35% off. That ends this weekend. In addition to that 35% off, OFP Farms has put together relief boxes for those Texas families who have endured just unbelievable tragedy. If you would like to donate, please see the listing on the website. That is at OFPFarms.com. Take a look at it right here, OFPFarms.com. Your contribution can help provide essential supplies like soap, lotions, and essential hygiene products to those families in need over in Texas. Every donation, no matter the size, big or small, makes a difference in supporting these families as they navigate through these challenging times. We thank you in advance for your contributions. That's at OFPFarms.com. The donations are going to be coming to a close this weekend, so if you'd like to be a part of that cause, head over to OFPFarms.com. Check it out, OFPFarms.com. A lot of people have donated already. Tons of boxes and tons of supplies have already gone out, so we thank you for that. Thank you, OFP Farms, for being a part of the show and the work that you're doing to help those families in need in Texas. All right. Just one more on Epstein. and these warring tribes that we're seeing right now, okay? One can hold the position that Donald Trump is a phenomenal president and possibly one of the, if not the best ever, while also admitting that he fumbled the football here. Okay? And I said I'd compare it to sports, and I don't know how many people in the chat are sports fans and how many will understand a football reference, but this is where I'm going. Okay? Tom Brady, as much as it hurts me to say it, I'm a Jets fan, is one of the, if not the best, quarterbacks in the history of the National Football League. The championships, how long he played, his touchdown to interception ratio, how many games he won, his clutch gene, whatever you want to say, Tom Brady is one of the best of all time. Period. Does that mean Tom Brady was a perfect quarterback? No. Does that mean Tom Brady never lost a game? No. Does that mean Tom Brady never made mistakes? No. And somebody like Brady wanted, he was a perfectionist. The guy practiced harder, worked harder than anybody in the game. I'm sure if he made a bad decision, he would want to be told, hey, that wasn't a very good decision. Tom Brady threw his share of interceptions, even in my team. Tom Brady would look at that and say, and even New England Patriots fans, I'm sure, would look at that and go, great quarterback, awful throw, right? That's okay. One can hold the position of this person is great at what they do, but this single instance was not great. That's not unreasonable. That's called being logical. That's called being rational. That's called being true to yourself. Acknowledging that somebody is very worthy of praise. Whether it's Donald Trump or an athlete or whatever it may be. An actor, right? Oh, yeah. So-and-so is a great actor, but he sucked in this movie. That doesn't mean you hate him all of a sudden. That doesn't mean you're turning on him. Right? A New England Patriots fan who sees Tom Brady throw an interception and go, that was a bad throw. Do you think that the New England Patriots thought, well, why don't you just go root for another team then? Come on, what are we doing now? How do we go from 0 to 100 by skipping 1 through 99? And this happens every single time. This whole idea where if you point out something that you would have done differently or you opine on the handling of a particular matter, that, well, if you don't like it so much, just go vote Democrat. What are you doing? That's no way to act. Even during World War III, when I was, in battles on social media with the Haji twin, never, Owen Schroyer, never did I go, well, if you don't like Trump so much, why don't you just vote Democrat? Because that's stupid. I thought they were acting like fools. Right? And, and in this case, I see people the same thing. Oh, Trump's going to remember that you turned your back. No one's turning their back on him. We're just asking what the F happened between February 27th and now. That's it. That's all that's happening right now from the majority of people. And it's driving me nuts to see people going, oh, that person asked a question. They're a traitor. Oh, that person isn't asking questions as much as I am. They're a pedophile. What? Have we lost all grip on every bit of reality here? It's crazy. Literally crazy. This is what schizophrenia looks like. This is what bipolar looks like. This is nuts. It's not wrong to ask for transparency. It's not unreasonable, nor is it impossible to take the position that I support President Trump, the entire MAGA agenda, but he handled the Epstein case poorly. And at this point, yes, it's not just Bondi, because the messaging that he's put forth out there has been poor. And if you can't admit that, if you can't admit that the messaging has been poor, you're not being true to yourself or you're delusional. It's either one of those two things. I would vote for him 1,000,000 times again. I would support him. Look, if there were no term limits for president, he wanted to run again, I'd support him again. I am not ashamed of my vote. I do not regret my vote. I don't regret anything regarding supporting MAGA the last 10 years. Nothing. But this idea that if you are critical of a decision, well, you're a traitor, you should just go vote Democrat. Just quiet. And this idea on the other side that if you aren't asking questions as poignantly and as persistently as somebody wants you to, then you're somehow complicit in child sex crimes? Are you kidding me? Two sides of the same bat soup crazy insane coin. All right. Enough on that. Okay. What's going on right now in the chat? Is there a war breaking out?
There's some mixed
comments.
Some mixed comments.
Okay. What about the comments are mixed here?
Some people are like this guy. Trump doesn't need his base anymore. That's why he's turning on us. Glad you're standing with him because he turned on you. But some people are like,
he turned on me? When did Trump turn on me? I'm sorry.
That's what this.
When did who's saying that?
One of the.
One of the Sherrys. Okay. Trump called us weakling and radical right. Face the facts. Okay.
I'm glad you're standing with Trump because he called you a weakling and a radical right.
Okay. One of the Sherrys. I want to talk to you. I want to have a conversation. I think we should have a conversation. So 631-527-4545. I'd love to hear your point of view. Because he's not calling anybody who asks a question radical right. He's or weakling. He's calling people who are saying that he is complicit in pedophilia a weakling. But I'd love to speak with you. 631-527-4545. If of course you can do so. Okay? Trump said he would stop the Ukraine war on day one. He just sent more weapons. Yes, but they're being paid for. Give us a call. 631-527-4545. If you are quote unquote one of the Sherrys in the chat. If not, then that's a shame because I think we could have a really good conversation, and I honestly think that there's common ground there. 631-527-4545. If you can call, if you feel so passionately about it. This is what I love about this show. All right, let's move on to, while we wait for this call here, let's move on to Maurene Comey. Because Maurene Comey was fired. By the way, a big win last night with the administration. And by the way, 5 minutes. If you don't call in 5 minutes, then I'm going to take nothing you say seriously. I'm just going to say that, okay? That's just because it's just regurgitated nonsense now. Basically, all of the irrationality that I was talking about. Here we go. This might be the call. Here we go. Is this? Let's see. I am connecting the call right now. This actually may be the call, so this will be good. This will be cool. This will be good. Let's see. I'm going to open up this line here, and we will have our conversation. Hello. Is this one of the Sherrys?
Yes, it is.
All right, one of the Sherrys. I am very curious as to why you feel this way and why you feel Donald Trump turned on us. Go ahead.
Well, because whenever anybody says anything or questions him, he did call us the radical right. He did.
When did he call us the radical right?
Whenever we questioned immigration.
He
called us the radical right.
He called us the radical
right.
Okay.
Do not. He said some on the radical. He said some do not want to support his immigration thing. Whenever he said that he wanted to, make a way for the farm workers and the hotel workers.
Sure.
And then he said there's some on the radical right that will not accept this. That's what he said.
He did say that, yes, but actions speak louder than words. And actually, I have been doing this intentionally just to kind of prove that, sometimes he speaks hyperbolically. We know that, right? But I've been doing this intentionally. The last 4 or 5 immigration stories that I have gone with on this show, if you've noticed, have been farms and restaurants, right? So clearly the administration's going after farms and restaurants. So that whole thing with Brooke Rollins, I don't think is actually a thing. That's number one. Number two, I saw you mention Ukraine, and I agree with you. I don't want to send weapons, nor do I want to send taxpayer money to Ukraine. Okay, I don't want that at all. However, if we're going to send them, they might as well be paid for, because Trump can't decide that the war is over, right? That's between Russia and Ukraine. So he can't just end it by flipping a switch. He could try and do what he's got to do, but he can't end it himself. You understand that? If he could, it would be done, right? You agree on that?
May I comment?
Go ahead.
May I comment on that?
Sure.
Number one, I'm a veteran. I was.
Thank you for your service.
And number two is I follow very much closely foreign policy. He said all throughout his campaign that he would stop the war on day one. That was the main reason why I voted for him. And he had every ability to stop the war on day one. And you know how he could have? By stopping all U.S. air support to Ukraine. That would have done it, because every missile that's fired is from Ukraine, is from the United States. We are giving them the intelligence and the direction where to put those missiles. We are. He could have stopped it on day one. He said that he cared about people were dying. He kept saying that people are dying, people are dying. He doesn't care. He's still supplying weapons to kill people. You know what? You were right. I agree. Wait, let me say one more thing.
Okay.
You were spot on. You are spot on, and you have been everything you said today. You have been spot on. We are turning on each other, and we shouldn't.
Okay.
But we are allowed to question
absolutely
his actions.
Well, and that's my point.
Right about that.
That's my point.
And that's all I'm doing. And that's all I'm doing. And if we don't hold his feet to the fire on these issues, then nobody will.
I'll say this one more thing, right? You are, and I mentioned this from the beginning. Everyone is right to question. I think where we get a little caught up is to say that Trump is betraying us. Things change. He has to adjust. You know, sports teams make adjustments at halftimes too, right? And so my point is the circumstances change. I agree. I think the war in Ukraine could have, well, maybe I agree. If he doesn't supply air support to Ukraine, you will have a bunch of Ukrainians that are dead because the Russians are going to invade the whole country and it's going to be a mess, right? So
no, that's not true.
I think it is true
because they can barely even conquer Ukraine. How in the world are they going to conquer any other country?
But you just
Sherry,
what you just mentioned.
They wanted that bridge.
Okay,
yes.
But can you admit that Russia probably would have taken Ukraine had it not been for U.S. support?
No, I cannot admit that because I don't think Ukraine would have. The only reason why Russia invaded Ukraine was because they were on the border and they had agreed that was going to be a neutral country. But guess what? They we got involved and we decided that we were going to put biolabs in there. They had over 30 biolabs all on their border. And it's the same thing that if Russia went to Mexico and established biolabs in Mexico, then the U.S. would have been mad. Okay. No, I think that Russia was provoked. And they did not, they have no intention. They don't have the ability to keep attacking European countries. This is taking everything out of them just to do Ukraine. They're not going to be able to keep on attacking. And they didn't want that to begin with.
I disagree.
Ukraine has already independently voted to stay with Russia. They want to be with Russia because Ukraine is an intensely corrupt country.
Well, and I agree with that. I disagree with the assessment that Russia won't continue to attack because they have continued to attack. Right? They won't end the war either.
How can they?
What? Well, they are.
Maybe in 20 years or something.
No, but they've continued for the last. But they've continued
30 years ago, and now they want to go ahead and do.
They've continued for the last 3 years,
though. They don't have the ability.
Well, they have had the ability for the last 3 years. That's why this war is still going on. Both sides are still attacking each other, and that's the point.
Only Ukraine because they're protecting their borders.
Well, I get it. But again, my point is, so you made the point about, we provide missiles, we provide intelligence, we're helping Ukraine stave off this Russian attack. Russia continues to
was provoked.
Push regardless of who you think provoked who, right? Russia has the ability to continue this war. They're a much larger country. They have the ability to do it, okay? Ukraine doesn't have the ability to continue to defend itself. I think if this was a war of attrition and both sides were pitted against each other, and left to fend for themselves, Russia would win. Ukraine is only in this position right now because of the support that they... What? What's that?
How is this our war?
It's not our war. It's not. But Biden made this our war. Biden made this our war. Okay,
No,
and we
he
have the
didn't.
mineral.
It's still not
yes,
our
he
war.
did. And
It's
then we
still
and
not our
we have
war.
a minerals
No, it's
deal
not.
that we've
How?
signed with Ukraine that we're supposed to be now protecting certain
You really
areas
think
in
there's
Ukraine over the minerals
there?
deal.
We're not even going to get those
Oh,
minerals.
there
for
are
10
minerals.
years.
All right, listen,
not
we're
even
we're getting way off topic here. Okay, the point is, I think we agree on many of the things, right? That we're allowed to ask the question. Okay,
And he
I do
did
not
call us weaklings. He did
called
call us directly weaklings.
That's not what he was saying in the Truth
he
Social
called
post.
us weaklings.
No, he didn't. He said
He
that
called
he was.
anybody who disagreed with him on this weaklings. Yes, he did.
Specifically,
and he's attacking his base, and I think he's
okay,
attacking
all right,
his
listen,
base. Listen,
Sherry,
there's two reasons
Sherry,
why. There's
Sherry,
two reasons.
Sherry, hold on.
Yes.
Okay, because we do have to.
He is
I got to
attacking
jump.
his base.
No, hold on. Okay.
Okay.
What I
All
think he's doing. Okay, and let me just and maybe just consider. You don't have to agree with me. Just consider this. Okay, is look post. I'm going to give you this right now. I'm going to concede this point right now. Posting what he posted on Truth Social, the way he posted it, bad move. Number one, right off the bat, shouldn't have done it that way. I'm never going to disagree with that. I didn't like it. I posted it. I asked on Twitter, on X, what is this? Why did he do this? That's number one. Number two, a deeper understanding of what he was saying is this, right? The hoax that he's calling this Epstein thing a hoax is the people who are saying that Donald Trump is complicit in the crimes that Epstein committed and that he's covering for pedophiles. That's the hoax. That's what Democrats are running with. And people who are adopting that talking point, those are the people that he is referring to or that he intended to refer to as weaklings. In other words, the same people who caved on tariffs, the same people who caved on Russia, the same people who caved on World War III, and now the same people who are saying that Donald Trump is covering for pedophiles or is a pedophile or is complicit in Epstein's crimes. Those are the people I believe that he's calling weaklings because we've seen that same behavior. I don't think he's calling you or me or any of the people who are asking what happened and being constructively critical. I don't think he's calling us weaklings. And I just ask that you consider that. That's all I ask.
And okay, I only want to say one sentence.
That's fine.
Is that if he agrees with amnesty and not really sending these people out, then he is distancing himself from his base.
Well, and I will agree with you 100% on that. I will agree with you 100% on that. Amnesty is my red line, but he has said no amnesty. There's a bill in the House called the Dignity Act. We have to defeat that. There are 10 Republican co-sponsors. It's a Democrat-introduced bill, so we have to defeat that bill in the House. If not, Donald Trump is going to have to veto it. But I'm with you on amnesty. I'm with you on 90% of the things. We may disagree here or there, but I want to say this to you. You're the first person who has called in when I've asked with a differing point of view, who has actually called in and we've had a conversation. And so I want to say thank you. That was awesome. I appreciate you for being here. And thank you so much for the call. You have a great rest of your day, okay?
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. All right, that was good. I was really good, I think. Disagree on a few things. Mm-hmm. But I don't think Donald Trump is calling Sherry a weakling. I don't think Donald Trump is calling the chat weaklings. If here's the problem with social media posts. Context is gone. There wasn't a question that prompted it. It's just a post that exists in the vacuum that is social media. That's the problem. I disagree that Sherry sounded deranged. I thought Sherry was passionate, specifically about the war in Ukraine because she served, and we thank her for her service. And that's a passionate subject for her. I don't think she sounded deranged. I think she sounded great. I think we had a great conversation. I think that's how we need to move forward because we disagree on some stuff. But at 90% of the time, we agree on stuff. I thought that's probably one of my favorite things that has ever happened on this show. We invited her to call. She called in. I disagree with you here, but I agree with you there. I disagree with you there, but I agree with you here. Trump called you, and all I said is just consider. And that's it.
And it's easy to get emotional when especially when you know you're being listened to by thousands of people.
Sure.
You know, you get a little nervous and you might just get a little overwhelmed. I know I do.
I think she did really well.
And I think she did too.
I think she did really well.
It's easy to...
And I think, look, you may not agree with what she said on some things, but I'm going to ask the chat just politely. Please don't attack the person. Attack the issue. We've seen a bunch of people who I've invited to do what Sherry just did, duck it and run. Okay? Don't attack the person. Don't start labeling her. You have a problem with what Sherry said, you attack the issue. I will always go to bat for people who have a different opinion. Attack the opinion. Don't attack the person. Please. Please. That's not the type of... And she did it. And I thought that was great. And that's my favorite part about this, right? There are real people in this chat who will call and have a conversation. And that's the best part about doing what we do every day. All right. Quick break. I want to talk to you about Silent, slnt.com/SHAWN, silent.com, slnt.com/Sean, slnt.com/Sean. Folks, between the government, big tech, corporate America, and criminals, your privacy is compromised 24/7. There's no other option. You've got to protect yourself. And that starts right here with Silent. Silent's Faraday products block all incoming and outgoing signals so that your devices are invisible and safe from the outside world. From their backpacks, phone sleeves, and even pants, patented signal blocking technology blocks wireless signals, giving you peace of mind that your data does not end up in the wrong hands. Just put your device inside one of their products, close it up. That's all you got to do. You're safeguarded from unauthorized access. You're also safeguarding yourself from some of that harmful radiation that comes off of the phones, right? You know, if you don't want to, microwave your parts you can stick it in the pants. You're going to wind up, you'll wind up with a safer outcome there and a better outcome there. Silent, slnt.com/Sean. Get 15% off of 15% off your order and free shipping on qualifying orders. Sorry. Stay ahead of what's coming and secure your privacy today, stopping all signals, all radiation, and tracking and hacking. That's Silent, slnt.com/Sean, SHAWN for 15% off. Silent, slnt.com/Sean for 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. Next up is a word from somebody you all know and love very much. Jeremy Harrell with a word from our sponsors at purehealthresearch.com.
Hey guys, what's going on? I got an incredible offer here for you from Pure Health Research. This is going to blow your mind. Look, I know so many people out there, especially as we get older, we want to drop a few pounds. We lose a little energy. We lose a little testosterone. We lose a little, estrogen. We just lose as we get older. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to gain, and this message is just for you. Pure Health Research is on a mission to what? Make America healthy again. They are aligned with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s mission, and I'm aligned with that. Their two best-selling health supplements right now that are leading the way is the liver health formula. Over 100 million Americans are sluggish because of a liver that is riddled with fatty deposits. This can kill your metabolism, pile on pounds, make you feel tired. All that liver health formula will take care of that. It supports your liver health with special nutrients like artichoke extract and milk thistle. This is one of the easiest ways to slim down. Next is the lymph system support. If you struggle with fluid buildup or swelling in your legs, ankles, been there, done that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to be for you. The natural ingredient in the lymph system formula helps gently flush extra fluids and toxins out of the body. Right now, you can get a limited time offer, 35% off right now. 35% off by going to purehealthresearch.com and using promo code LFA. That's Pure Health Research right now. Use promo code LFA and you'll get 35% off targeted products. I need something for this. I need something for that. They got it. And I want you to check out their reviews online. They are through the roof. purehealthresearch.com. Promo code LFA.
PureHealthResearch.com, promo code LFA. Thank you, Pure Health Research, and thank you, Jeremy Harrell, for the message. And our great sponsors, appreciate them being a part of the show. Obviously, Maurene Comey has been fired at the Department of Justice. She was one of the people working on the Epstein case, as it turns out. Also, I think the lead prosecutor or one of the prosecutors who handled the Diddy case. So, not securing those convictions on the big charges. So she's been fired. Obviously, there are rumors, obviously she is James Comey's daughter. So there could be corruption and other interests there as well. Again, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. We need to have the evidence before making that claim. It's not unreasonable to say that that may be at play here. I'm not going to declare it off the bat just because I don't like her last name and I don't like her father. But it's not unreasonable to think that there may be something at play. And that could be why she was fired as well. Obviously, though, has not been performing at her job very well, has not been executing those duties very well. Donald Trump also supports appointing a special prosecutor for the Epstein files. According to John Solomon, he said this to Steve Bannon on Real America's Voice yesterday. So I do want to play this clip. John Solomon does not make things up. Okay. A very diligent and responsible, credible journalist. So this is John Solomon over on Real America's Voice yesterday talking to Steve Bannon about what Donald Trump plans to do.
You did inform him that they're thinking about appointing a special counsel on this to take over this entire investigation.
Yeah, and he said, I think it's a good approach. Let's just do it. Let's get the trust of the American people. Let's get accountability, and then let's focus on the things that matter.
So he's on board with the situation of getting a special prosecutor and having the Epstein situation put into that, so that can be formally looked at.
Anything legitimate that should be looked at.
And really in a criminal context.
He volunteered it, by the way, Steve. I ask about the special, but he immediately volunteers, and then I follow up on it. But he immediately brings up Epstein. Like, just throw that in. Let's get it all answered. I got nothing to hide. I want truth, and I want prosecutions, and I just want the justice system to take care of what needs to be taken care of. It was really a remarkable moment.
So there's John Solomon basically saying, look, Donald Trump wants to get to the bottom of this. Certainly doesn't sound like somebody who's intentionally covering anything up. Here is one more thing about this. Look, everyone says release the list, release everything. And this is the only thing I'm worried about. And I'm not arguing to cover anything up. This is what I'm worried about, right? This is one of my concerns. Let's say that your mechanic is a drug dealer. You don't know he's a drug dealer, but he is. And you go and you drop your vehicle off to get, whatever, an oil change or, a belt replaced or whatever it may be, right? Something breaks on it. Your mechanic does great work on your car. You pick up your car, you go home. Well, you're one of, Harry the mechanic's clients, right? What, does that make you a meth head because he deals meth to other people, right? So what I'm worried about is that there will be, if all of the names are released, okay, there will be people who are going to be guilty by association when they shouldn't be. Let's be honest, okay? Was Jeffrey Epstein an evil person? He absolutely was. Did he make a lot of his money doing sex trafficking? There's a good chance that he did. But he made money in other ways too, and he had money that he maybe lent to people who had no idea what he was doing, right? I mean, just because you got a loan from Jeffrey Epstein doesn't make you a pedophile. I'm not saying that everybody who associated with Epstein is innocent either. What I'm saying is that there are most likely names that will be lumped in with this, evil stuff that Epstein was doing that had no idea. Just look at Donald Trump. Jeffrey Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago for a while until Trump found out and said, get the hell out of here. You're no longer a member of my club. And there's a lot of people doing guilt by association with him now. So I'm just saying, right? Look, your mechanic's a meth dealer. You have no idea. He does great work on your car. You drop your car off, you pick it up. That doesn't make you a meth head because you're one of your mechanic's clients, right? So that's what I'm also, if we do get a full list of names, please don't just find a person and say, this must mean so-and-so did something underground on the island, because we don't know that. And that's all. That's one of my concerns about releasing all the names unredacted, right? I mean, I love transparency, but are we responsible enough to handle that level of transparency? And some people aren't. And that's what I'm worried about as well. Because I wouldn't want to be, oh my gosh, I get a $10,000 loan from Jeffrey Epstein. All of a sudden, I'm a pedophile. I had no idea the guy was doing that, right? So that's part of
the guilt by association.
The guilt by association. That's part of why these courts have sealed these cases, because they don't want to ruin people's lives over, guilt by association, right? Now, I'm not saying that Tom Hanks is innocent. I don't know if he's guilty either. But what I'm saying is there will be people, if this comes out, that this will hurt, and they shouldn't be hurt because they didn't do anything wrong. Some, not all, right? I'm not dealing in absolutes here, all right? That's the last I'll say here, and we'll move on. Sherry, our caller, mentioned amnesty, mentioned deportations. I play the ICE game. I go on Google every night, type in ICE raids, and we see it. Here's a story out of Maryland. Another Maryland man, in this case, the victim. A homeless man in Maryland was stabbed by 3 MS-13 gang members. These are the people that we want out of our country. Period. End of story. They don't deserve to be here. They should not be staying here. We should not be talking about amnesty. I'm happy Trump last week said that we're not looking at amnesty. And I know what he said about the farm worker stuff. Trust me, I was one of the loudest voices on that. Okay, it's probably why I still have no voice. I was screaming so much about it. Okay, but actions speak louder than words. And every time I type in ICE raids, I hear about restaurants. Okay, so hospitality, restaurants, hotels, farms, they're raiding them actively. That's why I cover them the way I do, because those are where the raids are taking place. And there's a disturbing trend that's emerging with these raids on restaurants. We'll get to this in a second. Just the 3 alleged MS-13 gang members were charged by the DOJ for their reported role in a racketeering conspiracy that involved drug trafficking and murder. Defendants Maxwell Ariel Quijano Casco.
Stop it right now.
From El Salvador. Daniel Isaias Villanueva Batista, 19 of El Salvador. And Josue Mauricio Lainez, 21, Josu, of Hyattsville, Maryland, have been arraigned on charges in the U.S. District Court for the District of Maryland. 3 MS-13 gang members and allegedly participated in the murder of a homeless person.
Oh, gosh.
Stabbed a homeless man. So
I got to know why they add so many names. Like,
yeah, there's got to be something cultural.
Where
like,
just like,
right? It's got to be something cultural.
Another
one. Rhode Island, up there in the Northeast. Politicians in Rhode Island are upset. Why? Because ICE arrested an MS-13 fentanyl dealer. How could you be upset with this? Look at this guy in this. He's smiling about it. Look at this. How smug this guy is. Hold on. There it is. Look at this smirk. This guy's killing kids. Maybe not directly, but the fentanyl is without question poisoning America's youth. Rhode Island politicians, they're very upset about it. Great David Strom, hot air. You gotta love. I love his articles because of the way he writes them. He's got a snarky tone, and I love it. ICE apprehended a known MS-13 gang member with a history of trafficking fentanyl, and Rhode Island politicians exploded in rage. The perpetrator, Ivan Rene Mendoza Mesa, had benefited from the catch and release policies that are so prevalent. After all, wouldn't you want ICE to be able to deport dangerous criminals? So ICE was forced to track him down and apprehend him. They did, and all hell broke loose. Providence politicians insanely held a press conference vowing to track down any evidence that Providence police might be involved and promised to get to the bottom of this potential scandal. The guy's a fentanyl dealer. MS-13 gang member. Why are you upset that somebody found him and removed him? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just crazy to me. Really, it is. Okay, I'm going to take one more quick break. On the other side, I'm going to talk about this restaurant raid that just took place in Arizona. Again, I am not happy. Or wasn't happy with the idea that there were going to be exemptions for farm workers, restaurant workers, hospitality workers, etc. That policy that was going into effect at ICE has been reversed. Okay, so currently there is no policy in place that suggests this. Brooke Rollins and the administration has floated out either legislation or new programs being put in place that would kind of slow it down on those fronts, but those are not in place yet either. And I think Trump knows and can see the base. There was a post on X that I answered. Said, if you were a single issue voter, I'm not a single issue voter, but if you were, meaning if that one issue isn't represented, you don't vote. If you were a single issue voter, what would your single issue be? And I mean, most of the replies was immigration. That's what people really care about. And I think he gets it. And I don't think he's betraying his base with the Truth Social post. I think it was poorly worded and poorly executed, but I don't think he was betraying his base. Okay, let's get to Patriot Mobile, patriotmobile.com/Farish. Then we'll talk about this restaurant raid. Okay, patriotmobile.com/FARASH. You have a lot of choices for cell phone service with new ones popping up all over the place all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. That is Patriot Mobile. The good news is you can still switch to Patriot Mobile today without sacrificing quality or service. If you're worried about coverage, don't be worried. Patriot Mobile has access to all 3 major U.S. networks in this country. If you have service in the country today, you will have service in the country tomorrow when you switch to Patriot Mobile. If you think switching is a hassle, it's not. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's 100% U.S.-based team will get you activated in minutes. 100% U.S.-based team. You know what that means. When you call, you're getting an American on the phone. That's amazing. You can switch today, get activated in minutes from the comfort of your own home. If you're stuck in a contract or owe money on your phone, no worries. Patriot Mobile has a contract buyout program. This is how we win, ladies and gentlemen. By aligning our spending with our values. Every dollar we spend matters. Go to patriotmobile.com/Farish or 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Farish, F-A-R-A-S-H. You see it right there on your screen. Rumble.com/LFA TV. Get a free month of service. patriotmobile.com/Farish or 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Farish and get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Farish or 972-PATRIOT. Promo code Farish. Make the switch today. Okay. All right, here we go. Into this restaurant story. This is over in Arizona. AZ Central, which I believe is a USA Today affiliated publication. Don't love them. Don't trust them. However, it's a story, and I want to talk about it. Again, there are raids being conducted in these restaurants right now. Okay, here we go. Federal agents conduct illegal immigration hiring raid at Northern Arizona barbecue chain. The husband and wife owners of the popular Colt Grill Barbecue, Colt, C-O-L-T, and Spirits restaurants in Northern Arizona are accused of hiring and harboring undocumented immigrants to work at their restaurants through an elaborate scheme. Robert and Brenda Clouston, both 61, were arrested after federal agents raided the restaurants and several residences in Yavapai County and a Colt Grill restaurant, that's C-O-L-T Grill, in Foley, Alabama. On July 15th, federal prosecutors said 2 others, Luis Pedro Rochelle James and Iris Romero Molina, also were indicted. Roger James and Romero Molina are undocumented immigrants from Mexico, according to federal prosecutors. Under the scheme, the 4 people created a cleaning business, R&R AZ Cleaning, that was used to find undocumented immigrants to work at the restaurants, according to federal prosecutors. The unauthorized workers were paid through the cleaning business with funds from the restaurants, federal prosecutors said. The unauthorized workers were paid below minimum wage. There it is. And were not compensated for overtime. There it is. Prosecutors said the Cloustons, Roger James, and Romero Molina benefited financially from the plan and did not pay proper employment taxes for the workers. The Cloustons, Roger James, and Romero Molina were indicted by a grand jury on charges of conspiracy to transport illegals, conspiracy to harbor illegal aliens, conspiracy to encourage and induce an alien to unlawfully enter the United States, and a pattern and practice of knowingly employing unauthorized aliens, according to prosecutors. They face up to 6 months in prison and a $3,000 fine for each unauthorized employee for the pattern and practice charge, according to federal prosecutors. So there it is again. They also face up to 10 years in prison and up to $250,000 in fines for each of the conspiracy charges, by the way. So these are very serious charges. But every time we hear about these restaurants being raided, it's always either money laundering, they're not paying a fair wage, there's drugs involved, you're smuggling people into the country and then forcing them to pay off debts like at El Taco Loco in Arizona, right? These are serious things, guys. Very serious cases. Very serious crimes. It's an assault on the American people, too, because those folks are getting the jobs that maybe some 18 or 19-year-old college student who needs to make some money in the summer, they'd be getting a fair wage, be taking home tips, be being paid for overtime, possibly doing better work. I don't know. But this is why I am all in favor of raiding these restaurants, hotels, farms, because in those, we have covered it extensively here. Every day there's a new example of they're not just hiring illegals and going about their business. There's usually a scheme involved. In Arizona, there were drugs, guns involved. In Alabama, yesterday we talked about it. Drugs and guns involved. Here in Arizona at this cult barbecue chain, there was, conspiracy and money laundering and, exploiting worker. This is bad stuff. And that's why I've been saying from the beginning, no exemptions. And I've taken crap, right? Oh, you're criticizing the... Yes, I am, because look at what you would be letting stay in the country. This is why I am if I was a single issue voter, this is why if I was a single issue voter, my single issue would be immigration. Specifically, the idea of amnesty. That's it. That's why. Right there. That's my red line. And it will always be my red line. And I went berserk. You remember this a couple of weeks ago when it was being floated that there would be exemptions. I went nuts. And what happened? In 4 days, the administration said, never mind. We're not doing that. Good. Good. Folks, avoid the tribal warfare. That's all I'm going to suggest. If you're like Sherry and you have questions, ask them. Thank you to Sherry again for calling, and thank you for your service. We appreciate all of our veterans. Ask the questions. Don't let people bully you into silence. I don't care who the people are. I don't care what they say. Where we should stop short is connecting some sort of motive where there's no proof of one. Just because you're not getting the answers that you want doesn't mean that there's a motive or a malicious motive, covering for pedophiles, complicit in crimes, pedophile himself. That's where we get a little nuts. Okay? Could the administration have handled it better? Yes. Should they in the future? Yes. Do I think they should go the route of the special prosecutor? Absolutely. Do I think there should still be a press conference? Hell yes. All right. Jeremy Harold is coming up next. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Jeremy up next for the next 2 hours here. Rumble.com/LFA TV. Make sure you're following this channel. Thank you again to Sherry, our caller, who called in, had a fabulous discussion. I thought it was a great discussion. Civil, remained respectful. Everything was great. I want more of that. So maybe we'll start doing more of that. We'll see. Again, thanks for watching and listening. Hit that thumbs up button before you leave. As President Trump would say, we will never give up. We will never give in. We will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We're back here tomorrow morning. We'll do calls second half of the show again. Until then, have a great rest of your day. As Fetterman says, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. And thank you for your attention to this matter.